Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and it is Sunday night, and I just got home from Washington, D.C. As you can see by my lovely white background, I am back home in Las Vegas. Um, it was a fun trip. It was a fun trip. Okay, but that's all I'm going to talk about that because today's is actually something I'm going to be a little bit serious about, and that is, Days of Our Lives lost um, a an amazing actor over the weekend, Joseph Mascolo, who played Stefano DiMera, the Phoenix. He passed away at age 87. First of all, I've got to say, he looked amazing for 87 years old. I didn't know he was that old. I thought he was maybe late 60s, maybe 70s, but 87, he was late 80s, so he looked great. He looked great, so I give him props for that. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just talk about my favorite Stefano storylines. Next week we'll talk about, where the show is going and all and what it's at right now and all that stuff like that I normally do. But this time I just want to reminisce about the Phoenix, Stefano DiMera. First of all, when I give, that's too much information. Okay, anyways, so some of my favorite. Now, I didn't start watching Days of Our Lives until 1995. So I didn't know a lot of the stuff that happened before then. But I do love a lot of the stuff like Maison Blanche, which is where he was stashing Hope as Gina. Now, I enjoyed that storyline as well, Hope as Gina. I know that most people, they hated it. Most people were very vocal about how much they hated it. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it really gave Christian Alfonso an opportunity to portray someone different, and show her acting chops a little bit. And the real Princess Gina was locked away in this castle while Hope was impersonating Princess Gina and was stashed at Maison Blanche, which is where we also met Celeste and Lexi. So, that was Stefano's estate in New Orleans. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Also, now there's one that I liked and one that I didn't care for too much. So one was Aramid, and Aramid was a city, and Aramid spelled backwards is DiMera. And that's where we found out that the woman in white was Rachel Blake, who is Kristen's biological mother and Peter's biological mother. And that FYI, where's Peter? Like, no one's even mentioned Peter. I love how, um, what is his name? Nick Fallon killed somebody, and then 8 years later he's out of jail, a free man. Meanwhile, of course, not anymore. Now he's dead. He's full of lead, thanks to Gabby. But meanwhile, Peter just went to jail for attempted kidnapping, and he's been in jail ever since. And that was over 20 years ago. So, can someone mention him somewhere? Because he is Kristen's biological brother. So that's why it's important. He's important to the DiMeras. He is a DiMera. Even if you have to recast him, I mean, come on. Let's get Peter DiMera back on the fucking canvas. I mean, seriously, he didn't die. Anyways, but I loved Aramid because we found out who the woman in white was, and that was Rachel Blake. Now, one thing I did not care for was the whole Salem Strangler thing. And this, even though it did bring out Hattie, who I love. I love Hattie. Now, I love that. In fact, even though, see, here's the thing. This is what made Joseph such a great, wonderful actor, is that he took stuff that was so stupid. Like, that was just the stupidest, are you kidding me? So dumb. And he just went with it, worked with it. I loved it. It was great. And a lot of the stuff that he did had to do with inputting chips into microchips into people's brains, and hypnotizing them, or brainwashing them. That's the word I'm looking for. Brainwashing them into thinking they're somebody else. And that's how they've gotten away with a lot. Hope, she was hypnotized or brainwashed into thinking that she was Princess Gina. John has gone through I don't know how many brainwashes. First he was the pawn, then he was Father John, then he was Forrest Alamein, then he was someone, Brady DiMera, I don't know, whatever. And then it turns out he's John Robichaux. So it's like, I've lost count with John. Like, John is the biggest who the hell, but at this point, who cares really about John? I mean, who gives a crap? One thing I never understood was Stefano's obsession with Marlena. I never understood that. I never got that. Ever. But it did provide for some good comic relief, like, well, everyone thought it was Marlena that was, strangling people, and it ended up being, Hattie, and that's why Hattie's in jail right now, so. But she was under the mind control of Stefano DiMera, too. One thing I loved, so anyways, I was talking about all those microchips and all those storylines. One storyline I loved was when, anytime you saw Stefano with Dr. Rolf. I love Dr. Rolf. I don't know where Dr. Rolf is, but I love me some Dr. Rolf. He's pretty damn funny. He was pretty great. And one of the things that was great about Stefano was that, even though he was a mustache twirling villain, I mean, he wasn't really, but like that, he was that type of villain. He enjoyed it. You could tell. He was great. He was so great. I might be doing another one of these talking about him, but when I do my Bold and the Beautiful recap, because I think I'll be talking about Massimo Moroni, and even though he wasn't on the show that long, he still played a really big part in that series. That's still being felt to this day. So I'll definitely probably be talking about that. But I probably won't talk about it the whole time because A, he wasn't on that long, and B, I've got a lot of stuff about Bold and the Beautiful that I need to talk about, that I need to discuss. Anyways, back to Days of Our Lives. Okay, I love that he took anyone on. He took on Marlena, Roman, John, oh my God, no wait, the best storyline that he was involved in was the Susan Banks storyline. Okay, Eileen Davidson, first of all, she's an amazing actress, right? I retweeted her when she posted a loving tribute to him. But she was Susan Banks, and Susan Banks was some nut job that Stefano found and impregnated. And this is EJ's mom. And had her pretend to be Kristen, so that basically it was very convoluted, but the storyline was Kristen was pregnant with John's baby, but she lost the baby. And she didn't want to tell John because John was already sniffing around Marlena already. I don't think John is a rose or a prize anyway, so I don't know why she was even caring, but whatever. And Stefano, even though he probably didn't really want to be John to be his son-in-law, wanted Kristen to be happy, so he found this woman who was really pregnant, or actually he impregnated her, and then had her pass her son off as John Jr., which actually he wasn't named John Jr., he was named Elvis John Black at first, but then he ended up becoming Elvis John DiMera when it was revealed that he was actually, Stefano's kid. So Elvis John, I mean, and she was the greatest. She was the best. And Stefano was just right there with her. I mean, it was And then he had the secret room where he locked Marlena up in. I mean, he was just wonderful, and he's definitely going to be missed. Because they called him the Phoenix because he'd been killed off so many times, but he just kept coming back. But this time it's for good. So I just want to say rest in peace. And thank you so much for logging on today. You can follow me on Twitter at Angel Benton, hashtag Days to Talk, Days of Our Lives. And you can share your own memories of Stefano DiMera as well. Yeah, thank you so much. And tomorrow I'll be talking Young and the Restless. Okay, take care, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Peace out. Bye bye. Wubba wubba wubba.